we are back with On the Road of Recovery with Shannon from Newark. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for coming out and joining us and
No problem.
being willing to share a bit about your experience. So, can you describe your childhood for us?
My childhood was pretty good, I'd say. My parents divorced when I was probably 4 years old. You know, my mom worked, raised us, took care of us. My dad came and picked us up on the weekends. Went to school, played sports when I was younger. Um, I was kind of a troublemaker in school. Started smoking cigs and messing around with other stuff at a young age. But I mean, like everything seemed pretty normal. When I look back on it, there wasn't any real traumatic experiences in my life. With anything. Everything was pretty normal. I mean, my parents did use drugs, so that was kind of a normal thing for me to be around and see. So to me, that was normal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you have any siblings that you're close with or not close with?
I have two brothers. My youngest brother died from a drug overdose, a heroin overdose, 3 years ago, and then I have an older brother that I don't talk with because of some circumstances that happened, later.
Okay, gotcha. I'm so sorry to hear of your brother passing.
That's okay.
Way too many people have lost their lives too early. So, starting to experiment, when did it start becoming more of a regular use of alcohol and/or drugs?
Well, in high school, like I said, my parents were divorced. I moved in with my father in high school. He smoked, weed regularly every day, drank, and on the weekends did hard drugs. That's really when I started, using kind of all the time, smoking weed every day, drinking, partying in high school, stuff like that. And, I was using every day, but it really wasn't, didn't have any consequences from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going into your 20s, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, going into my 20s, I would say I graduated high school. I met the mother of my children, and that's when I started taking pain pills. And, I was still doing everything else, doing other stuff, cocaine, smoking crack. I lost my job. Family life started sucking, not paying rent, not paying utilities. I rented an apartment from my dad for a while. He lived a few blocks down the road. I would, go in to work late so I could wait for him to leave work to go to work so I could break in his house, try and steal pain pills. I mean, the insanity started to get pretty crazy, and then the consequences started adding up. And I think I don't know, it's about 29 is when my kid's mom and I broke up. My first time in rehab was when I was 21 or 22 for pain pills, and I went to Mary Haven just to get everyone off my back. I progressed from that to using a needle to get high, and then shit really got, out of control. My daughter's mom and I broke up, like I said, and I went to jail. It was terrible. I was manufacturing methamphetamines, and we were staying with people. My kids and I'd have them in houses, where there's cockroaches and mice everywhere, and needle caps and squirts of blood on the wall from where people clean their needles and just squirt it on the wall. And it's really crazy because at the time that was normal for me. That was my reality. The people I was around every day, they were good people. So I thought, and like, I didn't see that as having my children in a dangerous situation. When I look back at it now, it's like, holy fucking shit. That's crazy.
Right.
Needle caps everywhere, needles in the trash can laying on the table. I mean, dangerous chemicals, making meth in the same trailer my children are in, and here I thought I was being a decent dad. I mean, I know I could have been doing better, but I didn't see it as so dangerous and like, traumatic on them.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, I think it just really speaks to how much your brain is hijacked under the influence. I mean, it really, and not making excuses for anybody whatsoever. Just it's a different reality, and it really
Right.
is. So, making decisions is almost making good decisions is almost a foreign concept.
Right.
So let's talk about the last time, the end of your use before you got sober. So paint that picture for me.
So the last time I got high,
That time period, yes.
well, at the end of the road, like, nobody wanted me around. I wasn't allowed at my parents. My dad's house, wasn't allowed at my mom's house. I had abandoned my kids. Their mom had abandoned them. They were in foster care. Um, when stuff was real crazy before it got to the end of the road, my parents had called children's services on me, and I took my kids to my dad's house, and I said, here, you can do a better job. Here they fucking are. And I dropped them off, and that was just an excuse for me to, go out and use for the next 10 years. I wasn't there for my kids. I chose drugs over them. And in that moment, I loved drugs more than I did my kids. Like, all day, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, thinking about dope. How long can I make this dope I have last? When it runs out, how can I get more? What am I going to do to get money? Who can I manipulate? That was all I thought about, was how to stay high. And I just wanted to be done. But it seems like it's impossible, like, to even get clean, let alone start to fix all the wrongs you've done, like get a place to live. I was homeless for 10 years, sleeping in shelters and people's couches. Like, get a job, get utilities in my name, pay bills, get an apartment, see my children, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like the mountain's insurpassable. Like, I'll never be able to fucking climb it. There's no way. So why even fucking try?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy, but it's so comfortable that it's easier to stay in that miserable stuff than it is to try. So I was homeless. I was, committing small crimes and stuff, to stay high. And my father had went into the hospital. They didn't know if he was going to make it. I got a call, and I had warrants, and I didn't go to the hospital because I didn't want to get arrested. But I did get a ride to my dad's house, an hour away, so I could break in his house, steal whatever I could get my hands on, stole a bunch of checks, went on a spree writing checks. Long story short, I had warrants for that. I was up here in Newark running around. I was from Fairfield County. Whenever I had warrants, I'd come to Newark to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And I got picked up, and went to jail and for my probation violation, and faced some other charges, and eventually, made it to prison. And the last time I used was in prison.
Okay.
And like, I remember just wanting to be done. I had like, I don't know, 90 days, 120 days clean before I got to prison from sitting in jail and stuff. And I got to I got to prison, and there were like 4 or 5 guys I went to high school with in there, and there's drugs everywhere. And it's not a very healthy environment. You can't really like do recovery or be vulnerable or talk about how you feel. So it wasn't too long before I got housed beside a guy, and he was a drug dealer of the pod, and I got some money on my books, got some Suboxone, and I did it. And I just remember sitting there on my rack with like 150 other sweaty, stinky dudes on an August day in prison, and I did that little bit of Suboxone, and I barely got high, But the instant obsession came back. What can I do to fucking get some more? And I didn't enjoy a second of it. I was miserable. I was paranoid. Didn't want to get caught. Oh my God, but I couldn't stop thinking about how I could get more. And I just had like this spiritual awakening. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You're in here for selling dope and this other stupid stuff you did, so you could obtain drugs. And you just got a little bit of dope and you got high and you're miserable as can be and you want more. Like, get it together, dude. So, that was the last time I used, was in prison.
So I think you just painted one of the most beautiful examples of that mental obsession and that craziness and whatnot. So how did you get yourself then into recovery?
I mean, I had, like I said, I've probably been to rehab 6 times. I was introduced, I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. That's what I do. This time, though, I was done. I just, didn't use anymore in prison. After prison, they took me from there to jail, and from jail to a 5-month treatment, the STAR program. Mm-hmm. And I think it just, everything kind of aligned. I was ready to receive the recovery message, and I was so beat down and broken, I was willing to do what it took, and I went down there, and it's more of a behavior modification, and it just kind of like really changed the way, changed my perception, changed my thinking, you know what I mean? They really busted our ass for the small stuff, I really realized how much I manipulate, and how unaware I was of stuff, and how much it's not the big things that get me, it's the little things, because I'm real good at avoiding this little problem or that, or this big problem or that big problem. I keep doing these little wrong things and they add up. Before you know it, it's like, what the fuck?
So what are the things that you do today that keep you sober?
I go to meetings. I go to a lot of meetings. I have a sponsor, work steps. I do service work, help other addicts. I pray. I just do the next right thing.
Excellent.
No matter what's going on in my life, I don't get high.
Yeah. What do you do now for employment to support yourself?
I install cabinets.
Okay.
So I actually became a homeowner this year.
Congratulations.
Bought a house, yeah.
Okay,
So
fantastic.
it's kind of crazy the shit we can do when we do the right thing.
That's for sure. How are the relationships with your family members now?
So they're pretty good. Unfortunately, the last time I saw my father alive was when I was here in Newark. I had warrants. I was running around. I'd sell him my food stamps. He came up and met me one day. I ripped him off. I had no food stamps. I just gave him my empty card so I could get money to buy some heroin. And I ended up getting locked up, and he passed away when I was in prison. So I never got to see him in person to make amends. But I make amends every day by doing my next right thing and not getting high. My relationship with my mom's great. She's there for me. Like if she needs anything, she calls me first. She knows she can count on me today. My relationship with my daughters is pretty good. They went through some foster care and some stuff in foster care. Some bad things happened. Ended up with a really great couple that adopted them. When they got adopted, I went up and spent the night with them, got to go to court with my daughters and Mike and Barb, and be there the day of. And they're all about me and their mother being a part of their life as long as we're clean and mentally stable.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My oldest is 20, and my youngest is getting ready to turn 17. They come down and stay with me, and we're pretty tight.
That's pretty fantastic.
So it's really a miracle how that worked out, because there's a lot of children that go through the system that, don't end up, in really good situations.
So what is your sobriety date?
September 15th of 2015. So actually today I have 2,500 days clean.
How cool is that? Fantastic. So if you could talk a little bit about what dreams do you have for yourself, and you know, having some time, what dreams have become reality that weren't in active addiction?
So, what dreams do I have for myself and what's became reality?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, like, what dreams I have for myself is just to be happy and be a good human and not get high.
And is that a reality today?
It definitely is. I tried. I'm not really a materialistic person. Sometimes the world, the media gets me caught up in that, but I really try not to be, because stuff can't create my happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I create my happiness how I think, what I tell myself, how I treat people, you know, my thoughts, actions, and behavior. You know, just to be happy and be, all my needs are met. You know, I have food to eat, I have a roof over my head, and, you know, really the best part of my life is the people I have in my life. You know, besides my family, like, they're my family too, but my recovery family.
Can you share with our audience some things that you learned about yourself in recovery?
I'm a self-centered asshole. It's all about Shannon. You know what I mean?
And how do you deal with that then on a daily basis?
Service work. One of the things I do every morning, I have a little prayer routine. You know, one of the first things I do to get out of myself after I pray is text around 20 other addicts in the morning. Hey, have a good day. Sometimes a little recovery saying, or just, hey, have a good day. Send them positive vibes and much love. And that gets me thinking about other people besides myself.
So do you have any words of hope that you could share with somebody who's struggling, trying to get sober?
As long as you're breathing, there's still hope. Don't ever count yourself out. If I can do it, you can do it. If you sit and think about the things you do to stay high, you put that energy towards staying clean, it's possible. Reach out, don't be scared, go to a meeting, talk to somebody, you know. You can do whatever you put your mind to, you know. Recovery is possible, for sure.
So there's definitely a sense of there's a saying of, it's the we of the program that really is important. Can you talk about what that means for you?
That's one of the most important things about my program is having a we. You know, like my home group, my support people, my sponsees, my sponsee family, we get together. You know, like, I need other people to help me. You know, I've been going through some health issues in the last month and a half, you know, and, like, without my people, you know, like, I wouldn't have made it through that, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do this alone, you know what I mean? An addict by itself's in trouble, you know, so, and that also reminds me, you know, when I say that that, you know, I need other people, I need help, you know, so, you know, like, when I was beat down and broken enough, like, it was easy to ask for help, you know what I mean? Humility's a big part of recovery too. Like, if I'm hurting, I gotta tell someone. If I need help with recovery or my truck or whatever, I gotta ask people. Even people at my home group and people that really know me really, really well don't always know when I'm hurting. So I have to reach out, I have to let someone know, and I have to get it out because it's healthy.
Last topic to touch on is trust. So you had talked a bit earlier, you know, you weren't allowed in anybody's houses, nobody wanted anything to do with you. Today you have a relationship with your mom, your daughters, family members, there's people in the community that trust you. How did you rebuild that trust?
Main thing is not getting high.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I started there, and then it's really been all through the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Living by spiritual principles to counteract my character defects, because I am a sick dude. You know what I mean? And it's really just simple, you know, like simple things like being honest. You know, being honest is so freeing. It's like the most freeing thing in the world. Like, I don't have to look over my shoulder. I don't have to worry about what I said. I have no worries. Like it's like all that weight's just off my shoulder. I don't have to worry about anything but my next step forward. Um, so
It's and there's some of these basic tenets of, you know, willingness, honesty, openness. I mean, and those cliches that people hear, but being able to hear somebody that's actually living and breathing, it will help. I mean, it
Yeah.
really will. So, is there anything else that we missed that you'd like to share with our audience?
not really, man. Just grateful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? I'm always willing to do anything I can to help another addict or another person, but especially another addict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because that's what keeps me clean, and I get to carry the message of hope. You know what I mean? So, and how I receive hope is hearing other people's experience. So that's a good synonym for hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We really appreciate you coming out today. Your story is definitely going to help somebody who's out there alone and feels there's no hope. You are proof that there's a way out of addiction.
Thanks for having me.